update from our national organizations, hearing directly from our sources, in quotes, our sources, about the future of public media and the impact of each organization's efforts. We'll have time at the end for Q&A, so let's dive right into this with the President and CEO of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Patricia Stacy Harrison. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
You've all had your coffee. First of all, thank you, Polly, and for your leadership of the NEDA conference and basically everything you do on behalf of public media. We really appreciate it. I am so happy to be here with all of you, and especially with Paula Kurga and Pat Butler at the beginning of this new year, because it gives us an opportunity together to think about how we're going to shape and define 2012. How will we strengthen our civil society, our democracy, through public media, even against the backdrop of recent and terrible events? A near fatal attack on a public servant and the murder of so many people. I have been thinking about this a lot, as I know that each of you has as well. So how can we, through our content and engagement, increase the numbers and commitment of people of goodwill dedicated to putting the civil back in our civil society? This is public media's important role. It is really our mission, and it's what we must communicate to those who have the decision power to fund or defund us. And it is what we must communicate to the American people, that we are dedicated to providing content that inspires and that does not incite, content that entertains and does not demean, content that educates and does not dumb down or celebrate ignorance, content that informs but does not propagandize. Public media provides a safe place where people of goodwill can disagree and debate. Or as the President said so eloquently, to make sure we are talking with each other in a way that heals and not wounds. And that is of high value to our civil society. So we provide a safe place where children can learn. And that is of high value to our civil society. We're also vigilant and we're committed to ensuring that the trust placed in us by the American people, we will never take for granted. And the role that CPB plays as the steward of the federal appropriation for public media is a vital one. We have the distinct responsibility to ensure that these taxpayer dollars are invested in such a way that they always accrue to the benefit of the American people, and that through these investments, we strengthen and advance the mission of public media on their behalf, that we take that 30,000-foot view to anticipate how we can always more effectively serve. So our focus on investing in digital diversity and dialogue or engagement has really helped to strengthen and advance and shape 21st century public media so that it is relevant in people's lives today, right now. For example, our investment in the American Archives Project means we can preserve and protect yesterday's and today's content for future generations. And this is an amazing return on investments that were made in the past, paying off now and for the future. We strengthen and we advance and we respect the trust people have placed in us when we shine a light on editorial integrity and we create guidelines that promote transparency and diversity of opinions and values and organizational clarity. And I want to thank Tom Thomas and Ted Critchells for leading this important effort funded by CPB. We strengthen and advance our mission when we promote collaboration and new partnerships in order to better serve our communities. And a great example of this A positive example of this is in Southern California, where KOCE has now become the leading PBS affiliate, now branded as PBS SoCal. KOCE, working with KVCR and KLCS, will ensure that audiences continue to receive the PBS content important to them. CPB, working hand in hand with PBS and APS, helped shape this initiative, guided by Vinnie Courage and Michael Jones and Mark Bursley. They all devoted countless and thoughtful hours to achieve one thing: strengthen and advance public media in Southern California. There are so many forward-leaning examples of 21st century public media, and one, of course, is right here in Nashville with NPT, led by Beth Curley, who has achieved something extraordinary through the Next Door Neighbors series, a series so powerful on all levels of digital diversity and dialogue that it has gone viral globally. Or Wisconsin Public Television's very moving tribute to the veterans of Vietnam, those who returned and those who did not. And I want to thank Malcolm Brett for presenting CPB with the framed portraits of those Vietnam veterans who participated at Lambeau Field to be finally honored after so many years. I pass by these images in the halls of CPB every single day, and they always affirm for me how important public media is as we tell people's stories in a way that honors and respects their lives. And this is especially important right now as Americans look at their lives and wonder if they're going to be able to keep their jobs or even get a job, pay the mortgage, feed their families, as they cut back on things that they used to view as necessities that have now become luxuries. A cable bill, taking the family out to dinner, going to the movies. Public media has become even more important in their lives as we continue to deliver high-quality content for free, as we continue to deliver the trusted information they need to make informed decisions, as we continue to deliver access to lifelong learning, beginning with the youngest children, many in high-poverty communities. Yesterday at NEDA, former Governor Bob Weiss of West Virginia and Ron Sepulveda, Executive Director for Latino Engagement at the White House, joined me as I announced that CPB will be investing $10 million through public media to address this country's biggest deficit, represented by the thousands upon thousands of young people who drop out of high school failing to graduate from 12th grade. These young people represent a deficit of lost talent, learning, achievement, and contribution. And we need to care about them. They are part of our American family. And they are primed for joblessness, jail, or worse. This downward spiral impacts every community and, of course, our country. In fact, as Governor Wise said, for the first time in our nation's history, the numbers of young people who fail to graduate from high school will determine if this country is going to continue to be an economic superpower. Working closely with PBS, NPR, APS, NCME, the Alliance for Excellent Education, America's Promise, Department of Education, and of course public media stations. Project 12 will focus initially on the 12 most critical regions with the highest dropout numbers. And the official launch will be in late February. But we will be talking about this important initiative as we meet with members of Congress and ask for their support. And I know that Operation Graduation is going to be of interest to members of Congress on both sides, I should say on all sides of the aisle, which brings me to an all-important question. Where are we in this new political landscape? As Henry V, yeah, wait for this one. As Henry V warned the Duke of Gloucester, "'Tis true that we are in great danger. The greater, therefore, should our courage be." And moving ahead now will take leadership, cooperation, and courage. And that's just one of the reasons I'm so pleased that Pat Butler, the new CEO of APS, is going to lead this initiative on the Hill and in the States, with his Executive Vice President, Lonnie Thompson, who's done such a great job for us this past year. And we are all so very fortunate as well that we have Paula Kurga, whose leadership of PBS has strengthened PBS over the past several years. You know that CPB is prohibited from directly lobbying Congress. I feel I have to say that, but let's get that out of the way. Because we're not prohibited from informing and educating. And folks, there's a whole lot of educating that must be done by each and every one of us before we can be confident that those who fund us truly understand the depth and breadth of what we do, who we are, and why it is so vitally important to our country. We all know that the time to build the ark is before it starts raining. And that is what the Public Awareness My Source initiative is all about, helping stations facilitate community voices in support of public media. But now we're going to have to connect the dots for members of Congress and other opinion leaders between a funded and vibrant public media and a strengthened civil society. We can tell new members of Congress who may not know that America's public media service is very, very different from that of our counterparts throughout the world. We are not funded at their levels, but our initial federal funding is very, very important because it provides us with the opportunity to multiply it and multiply it through community support. We are a uniquely American public media service, and as such, we represent the best example of a public-private partnership that is validated daily by the American people, not only through their contributions, but through thousands of volunteer hours. 170 million people who care deeply about both public media and our country. And let's make no mistake, we do not, nor have we ever viewed this federal investment as an entitlement. We view it as a responsibility, our commitment to American excellence. As a viewer of Wyoming Public Media said, we have the people's trust. People respect us, and we have the clout to change things for the better. So let's agree, when we leave this conference, we're going to work smart, we're going to work hard to make sure that public media is both advanced and strengthened at a time when the American people need us to be there for them. I promise you, if we do that in a consistent, sustainable way, and working in partnership with one another, we will be able to say, at the end of 2011, it was a very happy new year after all. Thank you.